You ever have those nights when you stare at the ceiling, wondering if you're ever going to make it? That relentless voice inside tells you everyone else is succeeding except you. Maybe you're buried in self-doubt so deep that quitting feels like the only option. If you've ever felt like giving up, stop for a moment, because what you're about to hear can change how you see yourself forever. If you struggle with self-doubt, you're not alone. And before we dive in, if you want more real talk and practical tips about overcoming setbacks and building a mindset that never stops growing, subscribe to the Growth Mindset Project and turn on that bell so you never miss our weekly videos. Picture this. You wake up in a new city, heart pounding with excitement, the kind of energy that makes you believe you can start over. You've done the impossible. You left the predictable behind because you believe you're meant for something greater. You dream of inspiring people, maybe even changing lives. You set up your phone, hit record, upload that first video with trembling hands, and wait. The first hour feels electric. The first day is full of hope. But then the numbers don't move. The silence grows louder, and your confidence begins to fade. You tell yourself it's just the algorithm or bad timing. But deep down, a darker thought creeps in. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you're not cut out for this. You look around and it feels like everyone else is growing faster, succeeding easier, living a dream you can't seem to reach. That's when self-doubt takes over. It convinces you that effort doesn't matter, that maybe the universe just didn't pick you. You start second-guessing every decision, every risk, every dream that once felt worth it. You wonder if you've made a huge mistake chasing something so uncertain. You hear that voice whispering that you've wasted your time, your money, your energy, and worst of all, your faith in yourself. And it doesn't stop there. That voice starts showing up in every part of your life. You try to learn something new and fail once. It says, "See, I told you." You try to be healthier, miss a day, and it says, "You'll never change." You try to be consistent with your goals, miss one deadline, and it says you're not disciplined enough. It's a cycle of effort, disappointment, and guilt that buries you under its weight. And the scariest part? You start believing it. You start shrinking, settling, convincing yourself that maybe playing small is safer than trying again. But that voice, no matter how loud, is not the truth. It's fear wearing a familiar face. And sometimes, right when you're about to give up, life gives you a sign. A comment from a stranger, a small victory, a moment of unexpected encouragement, something that reminds you that your effort wasn't wasted, that someone out there saw your light, even if you couldn't see it yourself. That's when you realize something powerful. Self-doubt doesn't mean you're weak. It means you care. It means you're pushing the boundaries of who you were yesterday. It means you're brave enough to try something uncertain, even when you have no guarantee it will work. The truth is, no one escapes self-doubt. Even the strongest minds, the most successful people you admire, feel it too. The difference is what they do when it shows up. They don't listen. They don't let that voice dictate their story. They keep moving through the fog, trusting that clarity will return if they just keep going. You don't need to silence your doubt completely, you just need to make sure it doesn't drive the car. Because self-doubt is loudest right before the breakthrough. It's the test that shows up to see if you're serious about your growth. If you can keep moving forward when your confidence is at zero, that's where transformation happens. Confidence isn't something you start with. It's what you earn from taking imperfect action, again and again, until your brain starts believing what your actions are proving. You don't think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. Every time you show up in spite of the fear, every time you take one small step when quitting would be easier, you're rewriting that inner script. And soon, the voice that once told you you can't becomes quieter, replaced by a quieter, stronger truth. Maybe I can. And that maybe is everything. Self-doubt tricks you into thinking you need to feel ready before you begin. But the truth is, you'll never feel ready. The moment you start, you begin creating the proof you need. The courage doesn't come before action, it grows from it. Every failure, every rejection, every moment of feeling invisible is simply another layer of preparation. You are becoming the kind of person who can handle what you're asking for. You're building capacity, even when it doesn't look like progress. So the next time you're ready to quit, remind yourself, you've already survived every single time you thought you couldn't. You've already rebuilt from disappointment before. You already have evidence that you can endure more than you think. You don't need the world to believe in you. You just need to believe enough to try one more time. And I get it. Sometimes the silence hurts. Sometimes you give your all, and it feels like no one notices. But the truth is, someone always does. Someone is quietly watching, learning from you, gaining courage because you didn't give up. You might not see it yet, but you're already inspiring more than you realize. When self-doubt tells you that you're not enough, answer it with the truth. You are learning, you are growing, and you are still in the process of becoming. That's not weakness, that's evolution. The biggest shift happens when you stop measuring yourself against other people and start measuring yourself against your own potential. You're not behind, you're just in training. You're preparing for the moment when it finally clicks. And it will. The most successful journeys are the ones that almost ended too soon. The moment before a breakthrough often feels like the heaviest point of pressure. But pressure is what shapes you. It's what turns raw potential into refined strength. When you feel like you've hit your limit, that's when you're stretching into the next version of yourself. You don't grow by feeling ready, you grow by showing up scared. You don't win by waiting, you win by moving anyway. And every single person who ever made it past their doubt had a moment like this, when they could have quit, but didn't. So the next time that voice in your head says, "What if I fail again?" respond with, "What if I don't? What if this is the time it finally works? What if this is the version of you that finally stays consistent? What if this is the time you see what happens when you don't walk away?" Self-doubt can only live in silence. Once you act, once you move, it loses its grip. The fastest way to quiet your fears is through progress, even the tiniest kind. It's not about winning every day. It's about showing up every day, long enough for the tide to turn in your favor. Remember, the people you admire didn't get there by never doubting themselves. They got there by refusing to let doubt decide their destiny. You're no different. You have the same potential, the same capacity, the same fire. It just needs time, patience, and repetition. You don't need to erase self-doubt. You just need to prove it wrong, one small action at a time. You've already come further than you think, and the journey ahead is waiting for the version of you that refuses to quit. So the next time you feel like giving up, pause, breathe, and remember, every great story begins in the middle of uncertainty. Keep going, not because it's easy, but because you're not done yet. The world hasn't seen the best of you. It's still in progress. And when you finally get there, you'll look back and realize that self-doubt wasn't your enemy. It was the signal that you were standing on the edge of something extraordinary. This is the Growth Mindset Project, where you learn to see your setbacks as training, your fear as fuel, and your doubts as the proof that you're growing. Keep showing up, keep believing, because your story isn't over, it's only just beginning.